on we go. You can tell someone's happy, can't you? This is Come On Spurs TV. We're looking back at Angeball first term of half-term report. To join us to do a review of a mid-term report, if you like. You know, you said midway through Ange's cooking. All right. This time around, we're looking at how well or how badly Ange has done over the course of the season so far. And to join us to do that is Chuma on the other side. In the meantime, come on, ye Spurs. Come on, ye Spurs. Right. Should we be hailing or, lifting up Ange from the rafters, or just sort of be muted and be just calm, say, look, okay, there's still plenty of time to go. Don't get heated up, don't get overexcited, or just be neutral, or be negative if you like. If you want to say, oh, Ange is naive, he's playing on one style of football, we don't know any different, he can't manage games. What do you want us to do? I mean, this is Come On Spurs TV. To join me is Chuma. Chuma, welcome. How are you?
Blessed, highly favored, prosperous, and let's just say I am so happy to see all the change a year brings. This time last year, Optimus Primus wasn't dancing and singing on Come On Spurs TV. So see, that tells you all you need to know. We could end the show right here and now and just say, you know what?
I know, right?
Optimus Primus is happy, therefore the half-term report is an A, which, if you look at it, it's kind of like sneaking into an A. It's what, 60-something%.
Let's get ahead of ourselves. I mean, let's go. I want the marks at the end.
Yeah. But before we start, as always, little housekeeping. Thank you for watching the show. We're about to do some housekeeping. The usual, which is subscribe, smash the like button, comment, share with friends and family. And if there's anything you'd like us to talk about, let us know. Click on the notification bell to know when we put out new content. And there's always new content in this new year. And as always, we are Come On Ye Spurs.
Come on, ye Spurs, indeed. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are doing this review, if you like, of Ange's Tottenham season so far under Ange. Ange has been here from the 1st of July. And for a lot of people, it's been an absolute breath of fresh air. And I think one of the big Ange fans, and I remember saying when we first got him, Ange who? We did a bit of research and we found out Ange who, indeed, Ange fantastic, Ange amazing, Ange, you name it, Ange is really, really lovely piece of work, if you like. And he's come in and he's stamped his authority, he's stamped his style, he's stamped his image, and it's something we can actually call Angeball, and not a lot of teams can actually do that. I mean, I'll say that about their team so far, and that has been an absolute revelation for us. I mean, Chuma, you're a good Ange fan. I saw you reading the Revolution. Someone was kind enough to give to you on your birthday, and you've devoured it like like the voracious football historian that you are. I mean, tell us a little bit about Ange and what you think so far of the season.
Well, I think everything is falling in line with what I'm reading and what I read in that book. I actually finished it. I breezed through the book. It was one of those page turners that you don't want to put down. And it discussed his life. It tells you a lot more about his upbringing, the culture behind him. And I'm talking about his heritage as a Greek Australian, the immigrant mentality that he has. And if you know anything about that immigrant mentality, we are immigrants as well, living in the UK. There's something about it. There's a persistent, there's a fight, and it's just evident. And he's such a student of growth that everything we're seeing now is not a coincidence. He goes into everything. I told you in the last show, it's not trust the process with him. It's trust the progress. He looks to make himself better each time. He adapts. A lot of people say he's naive and doesn't adapt his system, but he does. he makes it more attacking in a way that you can't come back at him. And I think everything he's done at Spurs is literally levels above what he did before. I don't think he stays the same. And with all due respect to Celtic, I think he's on a higher level now because he has more technical players to work with, and we're seeing the fruits of it in the very, very first 6 months of his thing. Like, so it's a phenomenal thing, and and you're seeing everybody respond to it, from the tea lady to the players to the coaches, everybody, the media. They're all lapping it up, and they're not lapping it up because it's fake. They're lapping it up because it's real and it's an original thing. So I think very proud to have Ange Postecoglou as our coach. Very, 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 very happy to see what he's doing and how infectious Angeball is.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of sums it up very, very nicely. And ultimately, if you look at the stats and see, look, people always say, look, no matter how nicely you play, no matter how fantastic your style is, no matter how infectious you are with the journalists, no matter how well you treat your players and how well you motivate them, if you don't win anything at the end of the season, I mean, it all comes to naught, doesn't it? So we've got to sort of see whether or not you've actually seen any improvements per se. I know that the stats can be used to sort of say anything. You can sort of, stats, the classic stats, what stats, you can sort of write any story you want to write with stats, but let's just look at what the bare stats or what the bare facts say about him, in terms of the number of points we gathered in the same period last season, vis-a-vis where we are now. We also look at things like, how many goals did we score? How many goals did we win? So how many games did we win? How many games did we lose in comparison and our position on the league table? You did some sort of stats analysis at the outset, didn't you? And you made some notes.
Yeah.
And I think I made some notes as well. And I think if we look at the points we gathered in comparison to last season, we played 21 games so far, if you count the League Cup match, where, and you go first. Well, do you want to go with that? So
yeah. We're at this stage last season we played. I'll go with the league. We played 20 games. We'd won 10. We drew 3, lost 7. We scored 39 goals, conceded 31, which was the highest number of goals conceded by a team in the top 6, and we had 33 points.
Right. This is last season, right?
That was last season.
Right, okay.
That was last season. And then you now look at this season and it's 20 games played. We've won 12. We've drawn 3, so equal on the draws, and we've lost 5, scoring 42 goals, conceding 29. Also, for the second season in a row, we're the highest conceding team. Well, in the top 5, but not in the top 6. West Ham have conceded more than we have. But yeah, you're looking at it and it's like he's ahead in every metric from last season. He's below in the number of losses, ahead in the number of wins, ahead in the number of goals, below in the number of goals conceded. And that to me is fantastic for someone who, we just said now, he's changed the style. It's not actually the same style. It's not exactly the same players. And without our talisman, most of those goals, by the way, were scored by Harry Kane last season at this stage.
Right. And no Harry Kane this season, right?
Harry Kane this season.
Right. We've had plenty of suspensions and injuries to key players this season, right? And if we compare the same thing to last season, I think major loss for us was post-World Cup when Bentancur went injured, and maybe Kulusevski at some point was also injured as well. But Kulusevski has been a breath of fresh air this year. We've had Madison at the start of the season cooking. We brought in Van der Van, who again got injured midway during this campaign. And overall, I think unless you want to be overly critical, stats speak volumes in terms of his ability to stamp his playing style. We keep saying this, and a lot of people would find it difficult to argue, because if you think about it, right, even the so-called top line managers among what you might call the traditional top 6, if you like, if you look at teams like Chelsea, like Arsenal, you look at things like Man United, Man City, Liverpool, teams like that, when you consider that they kind of maybe through a history, tradition, and money, right? You're able to attract players, and you can sort of identify how the managers play. You know, look at, Man City. They have this attractive style of football that not only do they hold on to possession for very long periods during the match, and they have a way of cutting through you at critical moments, right? On top of that, they have this solid defensive style, which is really based on not conceding possession. Even if you consider possession, they'll get it back to you. You get back the ball within 10 seconds, of you conceding the ball. Losing the ball. They sort of swirl around you like piranhas, and they sort of suck the ball out of you. So you hardly ever have. Transitions are very, very limited with City's style of play, and that has been Pep style from day one, from Barcelona days. You sort of had. I was saying it earlier in a pre. It's like they sort of make it so boring because they have so much possession in the course of matches that you think, let's let somebody else have a bit of play in this match. Yeah. So that's been the style he has been able to deploy, and we're seeing the same thing with Ange now with Tottenham, right? They have this high line. Okay, again, some people criticize the high line, but that's another story on its own. But that's been our style, and you think that someone of Conte's ilk, if you like, who has, and I don't want to do this, it's maybe not a bit not unfair on Conte, but I'll just say this, because someone of Conte's ilk, as in somebody who's noted for his strong defensive style, conceding fewer goals and building on a defensive platform, whereby you have a very low block and you sort of transition into counter-attack, you still will have considered less goals in comparison to this new manager who's so attacking, and okay, people say that we're going to concede a lot of goals playing this sort of style. Okay, we have considered goals, granted, but not as many as we considered when we had a defensive style coach who kind of built from the back. So it says a lot. And you think to yourself, hang on, to do that as well, on one hand, we also have a situation whereby we don't even have what you might call a traditional, highest goal scorer, which is Harry Kane. But the goals have been shared around so far. You had Son is leading the line now with maybe 11 goals, Richarlison, who's been derided for so long, is got back in his within a form of scoring goals as well. I think he's got 6 or 7 goals already this season, and he's had injuries as well. He's had to undergo surgery during this sort of period of him having a lean spell. So overall, Kulusevski has put in a few goals. Madison put in a few goals. Even Brennan Johnson put in one or two, and Lo Celso a couple as well. So it's been shared across it. And my young man who's gone off to African Cup of Nations now, Pape Matassa, kudos to him. I think he's done an absolutely brilliant job in that line as well. So we've had a sort of very, very good mix of input from across the board, and it's hard to criticize. That team based on this stats alone. Now, this is just a little bit of all of this to say that his playing style has been absolutely magnificent. It's brought it like a fresh enthusiasm vibe across to the whole Spurs faithful across the world, and you're having people singing, "I'm loving Big Ange" instead. A choir song for him, and it's like, Ange Post-Kane, his chants are going in the state. That tells you the amount of love you got for that man, and it's well earned too. What do you have to say about his playing style? I know you're a big Ange admirer.
Yeah, I'd say, firstly, I don't think I've ever seen a Tottenham manager embrace this quickly in my lifetime. Yeah, we liked Harry Redknapp, but Harry Redknapp was because of the persona and the West Ham thing. It was all right. He's a straight talker. We liked Venables, same kind of way. We liked Pochettino, but Pochettino was a slow burner because his first season, as you know, it took a while. I think it was in the second season where Spurs fans now really gravitated towards Pochettino as such. This is like, for me, almost got 30-something years supporting Spurs. This is the first time I've seen a manager being embraced, and he's principles being embraced like this by the club. But I'll go back to your Conte point. I was and still remain a Conte fan. However, I realized that with Antonio Conte, you need to have certain things in place for his football to work. And I don't know what agreements or what conversations he had with Daniel Levy and Enoch regarding getting him the players he wanted and, his sane transactions and all that stuff. But the thing I give Conte, I put Ange Postecoglou in that bracket as well. Some people say, well, that's premature. No, I don't think so. If you're a winner, you're a winner. Winners, you could be a winner from a different country. It's like saying, you get the CEO of a company from Japan and you bring him to the UK and you're saying he can't function. No, his principles are still his principles of running a company. It's just in a different language now. And Antonio Conte's football, for me, was reactive. It was saying, come to me, I get the ball off you and I break and I score. But ultimately, I want to win. And that kind of football, I think personally, doesn't stand a great chance of winning now. I'm not saying it won't win. I'm not saying it can't win, but I don't think it stands a great chance of winning now. All the teams that are winning now are proactive. They are front foot. They are positional. And they're looking to put their foot on your throat as the opposition to win. But the end point is winning. It's the same thing with Guardiola. Guardiola is here to win. Klopp is here to win. Ange is here to win. And Ange has looked at it and he says, the only way I know how to win is that old cliche, attack is the best form of defense for me. And that's what I want to do. So first things first, Ange says, I'm a winner. This is how I win. As opposed to saying, well, this is how I play and we will win playing this way, which is what, like your typical Spurs fan, which I did number, is like, look, I want to see beautiful football. Mm-hmm. But if the guy tells me I want to win and play beautiful football to win, because beautiful football is the only way I know how to win, oh, I'm all in. So the playing style for me, playing out of the back, getting the right players as well. And the difference was with Conte, if you're going to make a comparison, which I don't really want to as well, but it's Conte wanted specific players. Ange wants specific characters. Agreed, you need to know how to play, but there's something else. He doesn't need a marquee name or player. He just needs someone who knows how to do what he wants to do that will fit in with the group. I don't think Antonio Conte cared much about fitting in with the group if the player is good enough to do what he wanted to do. So, case in point, let's say he wanted Alessandro Bastoni from Inter. Now, we don't know if Alessandro Bastoni can speak English. We don't know how quickly he could have adapted, but he's a star player. He's a marquee name. But Ange is here with Mickey van der Ven. Not only had he scouted Mickey van der Ven when he was at Celtic, he knew, one, the boy was very good. The boy's character as well leads to him becoming friends, camaraderie, which is what we are seeing now at Tottenham. So, like I said, everything leaks into everything else. The playing style, the way they go out, the communication, everything stems from one man. The vibe in the club, it stems from this one guy. Yeah, he's not the biggest extrovert in the world. You could look at people like Venables. You look at Harry Redknapp, who we've had. They're very outgoing guys, so you can understand, the kind of community they forged in Spurs. But this guy isn't any of that. He looks like a quiet guy, a guy who just wants to drink down the pub, who speaks his mind. Yet you look at things going on and it's an infectious thing. Players are speaking well of him. They're speaking well of each other. They are protecting each other. They are fighting for each other on the pitch. And it stems from one man. Once you've got that leader in place, I personally believe everything else falls into place. And, we're getting that with Ange, and, long may it continue.
Indeed. I mean, I love how you sort of brought out the intangibles there. How you mentioned the vibe around the squad, his communication style, the way he's able to motivate the team, the camaraderie that he's developed in that team as a result of his influence. The influence of Ange in that team is absolutely immense, and it's very clear for everyone to see. How he even conducts himself in press conferences, on the sidelines. I think he had this altercation in the last match. I don't know what happened in that match, and then there was some sort of big hoo-ha going on. He got a yellow card, as well as some players from from the other side, and I think to myself, and they asked him afterwards. I think they asked him afterwards, what happened over there? And I can't remember his response. It was first one. It was really.
I think he was talking about like how did you spend Christmas or something like that. Like how was your holidays? And
yeah, so we were wishing each other Merry Christmas. I can't remember what he said.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's like he just completely diffused the situation. Which,
absolutely.
You know, this time last year, you know, once again, not comparing Conte, but Conte and the too cool flare up handbags at dawn.
I know, right?
You know. Ange doesn't look like the sort that bears a grudge. He just looks like the guy that will just come and like, my team will beat yours next time we meet. So, you know,
yeah, I mean, it's we'll look at prospects for the rest of the season so far. I mean, in terms of league position, how many points we're going to gather on the board, and how many more wins we expect, and how we expect the whole team to continue to play, given the fact that okay, fine. We've had plenty of injuries. We have suspension. We have people going away for Nations Cup and Asia Cup. And how do you think things are going to pan out over the short term, medium term, and long term till the rest of the season? Now, everyone says. I mean, I know we had this little clip at sometime in I think must have been the last episode when we talked about when someone asked Ange, "Oh, you're 1 point away from." The top four, and said, "Oh, sorry, mate, we're 3 points off the top." But that's now 6 points off the top because obviously Liverpool won their last match, but it's still not a lot of games. If one, there's a couple of draws and one loss, and the whole thing changes around. So, and we've had a spate of injuries. A lot of teams above us or around us haven't sort of experienced the same sort of what you might call bad patches, and it's almost inevitable in every season that every team will go through the spate of bad patches, either because they have injuries, they have suspensions, the results go against them, they don't score goals, they lose form, whatever, But we've seemed to have ridden that storm early doors in this season, and it's possibly serving us well now because some of our players are coming back now, and we're acquiring a few more over transfer window, hopefully, and that can only be a good thing over the course of the rest of the season. Now, looking ahead, of course, none of this is cast in stone. It's just an opinion at this point. So, what do you think? What are your feelings in terms of how things are going to pan out over the course of the rest of the season?
Yeah, I said at the start of the season when like certain players were going down and other players were replacing them. I said. There's a thing for my superhero comic book fans out there, Hydra in the Marvel universe, who are the bad guys. But they have this thing, Hydra, where they say, which is similar to the real Hydra in Greek mythology. Like you cut off one head, two others spring up. Every time Spurs seem to be at a disadvantage, whereby one player falls down, another player takes his spot. Maddison went down. Lo Celso is now getting rave reviews from Spurs fans. Surprise, surprise, and shock, and you're just seeing a lot of people emerge. Ben Davies, grudgingly, people are accepting. Oh my God, this guy's actually very good for someone who doesn't play centre back in a back four. He's been, for me, very, very, very good, commendable. He's not a like-for-like replacement for Mickey van der Ven, but my goodness, he's applying himself, and the football allows you to apply yourself in that way. Emerson Royale, I'm not his biggest fan, as you know, and other people who view this channel will know as well. But one thing I can never, ever doubt that young man for is his application, his grit. I call it grit because in the absence of skill and you still want to carry out something, you have to have something. There's a certain persistence and will that pushes you, and I think Emerson Royale has that, and he's willing to do anything to die for the badge, and I respect that in any player. But like you said, like looking forward, what are we looking for? I also want to congratulate Ange for the way he handled, I think, the question thrown at him in a press conference about not buying players from the African or Asian zones because of these issues of them jetting off and stuff. Not exactly I'm paraphrasing here, but it's more to do with the fact that he said no, that it won't deter me from buying players from those countries, because if you don't, you're missing out on so much amazing football. You're missing out on so many amazing minds and skills. And I was like, my goodness, what a change, because we all know it's been documented. I won't say it's more alleged that Pep Guardiola avoids buying players from the African zone because he's going to lose them for the AFCON start of every 2 years, or I don't know if it's every year now, but every 2 years now. So it's kind of like a deterrent for him. Arsene Wenger spoke about that back in his day as well, as something that he moved away from. But to see a manager embracing it, saying it's
and
something
Klopp has mentioned it as well in some of his press
yeah,
conferences.
Klopp was kind of negative last year. He took a Nigerian journalist who called him out on it, saying, that little tournament or something. There's a way he said it, and he tried to backpedal, and because he's Klopp, so many people gave him a pass. But the African Cup of Nations is important. If you're an African or you're of African heritage, and it means something. It's the same as European Championships and a slightly smaller World Cup. It gives us pride. It's also bragging rights for your country if you win it.
Yep.
So it's a source of pride, and the fact that Ange has recognized it and he hasn't belittled it, and he's not. No one's happy for Pape Matissa or Yves Bissouma to leave at this stage of the season, but he is so confident in the ability of what he has, or his ability to coach what he has, and maybe we'll get one or two replacements, even if we don't get anyone. The fact these guys are coming back, like you said, the injury problems the squad faces over a course of a season, you can either get it early, you can get it in the midpoint, or you get it at the end. I think Spurs have suffered enough to cover all three phases of the season. And I think we've suffered the most we've had now. And players are coming back. I think we might make one or two additions in this window, not more than three, that will bolster the squad. But I think it's just the application. I think players looking at what they've gotten now, at first we were saying, I said, anything better than where we finished last season. And last season we finished 8th. This season we're in the top 5. I think maintaining that top 5, which is the average, by the way, of Spurs finishes in the Premier League, we're 5th. We have the 5th best record in the Premier League. So we're right about where we should be, but not where we should be if we have a new manager who's changed the style. That's supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be overachieving like this. But I think we're in line at 5th, and we're just waiting and seeing, taking each game as it goes. I'm not going to predict anything further than that. Today's the FA Cup. We'll play that game. We're going there to win. We move on every stage. But right now, where we are, top 5, I think it's merited. It's like Ange says, he has earned it. He's earned that 5th position for us. And we're looking higher than 5th. We're looking at anything from 1 to 5.
All right. So you're playing the sitting on the fence game. You don't want to sort of name anything. I think, okay, fine, average. We'll try and do our best to maintain that, and hopefully, if we see how it goes, right?
I'm more. If I'm a 200 meters runner, we're on the bend. So right now, you don't know who's really in the lead, because whoever takes the bend the best. So we're just approaching the bend. So whoever is in the lead is in the lead. No disrespect to them, and that's Liverpool at this moment in time. But once you take that bend, all bets are off. And if you're Usain Bolt, that's when you start to pick up speed. I'm not saying Spurs or Ange, Usain Bolt, but at this stage now, six. I've never really seen it where it's 6 points between top and 5th, and there's going to be a breakaway. It's who can follow, for those who
the pace, when you're doing those space running, those distance running things, right?
There's some other people who in that race would say, if I can see Usain Bolt's ankles, I'm getting a medal. So it's kind of like if Man City and Liverpool are going to make this break, if you can be close to their ankles, you're in the race.
Okay.
I think it's Man City.
We'll see how it goes. Do you think Ange deserves some kudos from us?
What, do I think he deserves kudos from Spurs fans?
Yes.
I think personally that Spurs fans, I think Daniel Levy and Spurs fans should kiss the ground Ange Postecoglou walks on already.
But this is time to do this, right?
Should kiss the ground he walks on, because exactly. kudos to Ange. He deserves 2 horns, 3
Once more.
horns. If you're a fan of Coming to America, I think personally speaking that they should have rose petals put on the floor when he's walking into training, because this guy he's the real deal in my opinion. Like, complete salute to him. He's really turned our football around. Anybody who is negative against him is negative for whatever bias they have, either to their club or to the fact they don't like attacking football, or they want trophy managers that have won trophies in 5 leagues. All those things. He's just doing a very good job. He's doing an excellent job. I think he's a lifelong disciple of excellence, and he's trying to make our club excellent. And I'm here for that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You know, I mean, if you agree with us, disagree with us, we'd love to hear from you. Let's hear a comment in the comment section below. Share this, comment, like, subscribe, and then we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. So, in terms of marks, before we close, in terms of marks, what would you give Ange? A star being, I mean, the top mark, you know, and of course, C being, you know, or E being really poor. Let's hear from you.
I'll give Ange an A, not an A plus. I'll give him an A. I'll give him a solid A, and I think he's the kind of student that will be pushing for an A plus in the same subject next year. So I give him the A and the A plus. By the way, if you're watching and you're going to comment as well, let us know what you felt at the start when Ange joined, or your scoreline when he first came, because some people probably gave him a C. I gave him a B because I was like, he'd never played in a big league, but I liked the football. From that B at the start of the season, he's jumped to an A, midterm or half-term results. End of the season, we'll see what grades he'll get. But so far, he's jumped from a B to an A. What do you think? Did he jump from a B or a C or a D, or did you not have any rating for him at all? And what's his rating now? And yourself, Soji, what's your view?
I think I'll easily give him an A. I mean, without I don't know that whatsoever. I would give him an A star, honestly. If it wasn't the fact that we kind of lost a few matches, maybe we could have done better, you know. But overall, I think he's managed the team absolutely superbly. He's conducted himself like a true ambassador. He brought us what I call a lot more respect than we would have had. I mean, the club has changed the vibe around the whole club. The whole negativity that sort of soured the whole atmosphere in the club has sort of disappeared and almost become a thing of the past. And the vibe running through the whole club now is so much more positive, and it's a testament to his character and his leadership. Yes, long may it continue. Ange, you're a star. Guys, so look forward to hearing from you guys again. And then in the meantime, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Salute.
Come on, you Spurs.